Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Untitled Reviews. Now, the world of enthusiast level keyboards is quite an intriguing thing. You can go all the way from some really weird split ergonomic keyboards to things like the Unicomp New Model M that we featured on this channel before, all the way to things like this. This is the Niz Mini84 Pro that will run you about $130 or 165 quid, depending upon where you buy it from. And to all intents and purposes, it looks like a pretty standard 75% layout keyboard with two-tone white and grey keycaps that make it look fantastic, and an understated look that's probably more akin to some slightly more premium feeling keyboards. However, inside it lies a deep secret: the fact it runs electro capacitive switches, and I'll get on to more about that in just a moment. So before we get into the review of the Niz proper, I'd just like to explain a little bit about what electro capacitive switches are. In short, what they do is they use a high quality rubber dome to generate tactility, which in turn pushes a spring down that's pressed onto a pair of capacitive contact pads on the keyboard's PCB to generate an input. So fundamentally what you're getting is an almost mechanical arrangement, given the fact that this uses some rather high quality rubber domes as a certain actuator on the spring as such. You could argue that, therefore, these aren't truly mechanical keyboards, given the fact that they utilise domes. This isn't just a trope of this particular Niz keyboard, but also other more famed electrocapacitive boards from the likes of Top Ray, who've been making them for absolutely years. However, the reason why these are kind of given a free pass, as it were, from mechanical purists is simply based on the notion of switch feeling. It's completely different to your usual linear MX style switch, just given on the fact that this is as buttery smooth as a mechanical key press can get, and therefore worth the rather high asking price that electrocapacitive keyboards can command. I know that this Niz is certainly on par with some of the more expensive, more mainstream gaming keyboards out there, for instance. So, onto the design of the Niz itself, returning to the main matter at hand. The first real thing to note is that its layout could be seen as a little bit odd. With a total of 84 keys, it's more of a squidged up 10 keyless keyboard, but this slightly smaller form factor is perhaps one of its biggest selling points, given the fact that it squeezes all of the must-have, I suppose, inputs into a slightly smaller space. If you're used to a 10 keyless or a 60% keyboard, then using the Mini84 Pro's 75% is an absolute doddle, and this is arguably perhaps the best layout for productivity and for spending a long time working. What you will also notice, intriguingly, is that the keycaps aren't your usual kind of top-mounted keycaps. The Mini84 Pro uses, intriguingly, side-mounted keycaps. You can get it in top-mounted form. I prefer the side-mounted keycaps just because I think they look that little bit cooler. This can take a little bit of getting used to if you aren't a touch typist and do need to look down at the keys, but to be perfectly honest, it results in this particular Mini84 Pro looking rather clean indeed. That white and grey colouring looks absolutely fantastic, and I have to say this is one of the most well-built keyboards within such a small form factor. It's got a really nice sturdy plastic frame to it, and there's practically no deck flex whatsoever, which is really something to be proud of considering how small the board is. So onto the performance side of things when it comes to the Niz Mini84 Pro specifically. Well, as I say, the general feel of electrocapacitive switches is one that's buttery smooth, and that certainly goes hand in hand with how the Niz feels. It features a 45 centinewton actuation force, which will be familiar to anybody that's used more general lighter key presses on switches like MX Reds, although, as I say, with a slightly different key feeling. An arguably better one at that. If you do want to make it a little bit heavier, though, if you're more of a fan of slightly heavier switches like MX Blacks, for example, then Niz do handily bundle some extra springs in the bottom. You can take off the keycap, undo the mechanism on each switch, and put in a slightly heavier spring if you do want a slightly heavier key press than the standard 45 centinewton one. It can increase the weight of the key press by 20 grams or so. You also get a keycap puller in the box alongside some extra keys to swap into place if you're a Mac user. And as for customization, underneath the keycaps comes a standard MX stem kind of arrangement, if you will, as an actuator. So if you've got any other MX stem and OEM profile keycaps that you want to use with this keyboard, then you definitely can as well, which is certainly rather handy. So, in conclusion, should you buy the Niz Mini84 Pro? Well, first and foremost, if you want to experience the feeling of electrocapacitive switches at a more affordable price than competitors' keyboards, then this is the way to go. In addition, if you're looking for a handy 75% layout that's going to offer a rather nice convenient amount of desk space for your peripherals, and also just for the sake of productivity, then you're also going to be in luck. And also, if you want some rather kind of almost retro-inspired yet business class looks with some good build quality, then the Niz Mini84 Pro will also deliver. So all in all, a great keyboard with some fantastic feeling switches, and certainly one you won't want to miss out on if you do choose to buy one. Now, all I've really got left to say is that if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and of course subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. To follow us on Twitter and indeed Instagram, links should be appearing on the screen right about now. And also down in the description, if you're interested, there'll be a link to the Untitled merchandise store on Spring, where you can pick up all manner of t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, wall art, mugs, canvas prints, pint glasses, and everything in between. And Spring do ship worldwide, and the quality of their stuff is also rather good as well. Also, if you like any of the kit that we featured in this video, these videos, be it this Niz Mini84 Pro or all sorts of other keyboards, mice, multimedia controllers, laptops, headsets, microphones, and more that we've featured on the channel, then there'll be Amazon links down in the description of those respective videos where you can pick all that stuff up. So once again, thank you very much for watching.